Welcome to Tamer Bowling Video Ball Reviews.
We need your support, so if you like what we do, please support us by joining our Patreon page.
Visit our partner pureatbowling.com and use the special code TAMER when making a purchase to be entered into a monthly drawing. Today we're testing the brand new Hammer Statement. We're testing on a 40-foot medium house shot and the 45-foot PBA Dick Weber pattern. First impressions, the Hammer Statement definitely made one. It's strong all around, good traction, strong in the mid lane and strong down lane. The Hammer definitely didn't shy away from making a huge piece. For value, we gave it a B. Despite being a top line, strong, solid ASIM, this ball feels like it'll be pretty usable for many bowlers on a lot of conditions, earning it decent marks. Overall, we gave it a B+ on house shot, B+ on sport. I thought hard about what Hammer was looking to do with this statement when the ripped line was just fairly recently released, and when throwing these pieces I can immediately tell you we were impressed. When comparing the lines, the covers are identical and the specs are similar. However, ball reaction is different, so what gives? In a brief conversation with EBI, technicalities are that the majority of the mass has been moved to the bottom on the statement versus the top heavy ripped. That basically means the statement's going to store more energy for down lane motion, and that was easy to see in the ball reaction. While the overall strength is quite similar, we did feel the statement had more punch down lane. To me, that extra pop can help the average bowler take out the corners just one or two more times, and who wouldn't want that? All this ultimately means the statement scored a little bit higher overall than the ripped solid, and you'll see why as we go through the testers. For me, there's no question this ball was still a lot of ball, and it took a little bit until I realized it's just super strong and I needed to move. Generally, I could be between the third and fourth arrow. The ball showed off its backhand capabilities when I occasionally missed out. It's still a solid, so you have to take care there. At the same time, forget about missing it. Down lane motion is too strong to hold from there. The statement Pearl is not that different in terms of overall strength, but definitely is a little cleaner getting down lane, as you would expect. Sean is next, and surprise, surprise, he really enjoyed throwing the statement and loved the overall motion and shape. There's something about the way this core transitions. It happens to be visible in the color swirls. It has a smooth transition, but one that just keeps coming. You generally feel like it's still going, and it just slices right through the pins. It really is a shape that is very well matched to Sean and his game. And despite being a solid ASIM, which is typically too much, it had the shape that made him comfortable throwing this bigger piece. The only thing Sean saw occasionally was the weak corner pin, which is not all that surprising with balls intended for heavier conditions.
Again, you see the Statement Pro is not that different, maybe a touch longer, a touch amped up down lane.
Bryan was next, and again, that extra backhand punch on the high-end piece meant this thing really looked good for him. He enjoyed the heavy rolling ripped solid as well, so it's not surprising that he liked the statement. In fact, the statement rolled so hard down lane that he left a couple stone sevens. Generally, the ball barreled through the pins very well for him, and it puts him closer to the third arrow and could notably open up the lane more than he typically can. Again, no major surprise, the big oiler can plaque corners at times as they can run out of energy.
For Bryan, the difference between the Statement and Statement Pro was actually even smaller. He felt like it had the same overall strength and hit.
For the sport shot, we're testing on the 45-foot Dick Weber pattern. Normally I like to play around 6 or so going up the boards, but the Hammer Statement was so strong it promptly nosed up. Small move and I can strike, but it's a tight fit. This pattern can be playable from multiple angles, and 13-9 also worked quite well with the statement. What's even more interesting is that even 19-10 worked for me. The ball shape gave it tons of versatility. This ball just overpowered this pattern. For Sean, it became quite clear this ball is too much for him on this pattern. He had to get quite deep, but also had to take care not to get too wide. It wasn't making sense until he got past the fifth arrow, and then the motion looked really good. But he really doesn't want to have to play that deep. For Bryan, the statement was a good matchup on this 45-foot sport pattern. It gave him maybe an extra board of forgiveness over other balls, and who wouldn't want more space on a sport shot? Final thoughts. Hammer did make a statement with this ball. It's a strong ball, but they also showed you could still get big backhand while still running snow tires. The value in house shot scores were higher on average than the ripped, primarily because of the shift of having more downlane pop. And every bowler saw added value in that dynamic core change. The ripped may offer a bit more control, especially on sport patterns due to the smooth downlane motion. But ultimately they are subtle but nice complements. I think Hammer fans will be very pleased with this addition to the lineup.
I need to tell you what Tamer Elbaga reviews.